This week, I want to talk about a hypothesis or assumption, um, and turning that into theory, and then taking theory and making it knowledge. And this podcast is primarily focused, obviously, on executives, but I live by the motto: "There is always a better way." And you know, it is a constant search, or should be, for organizations to improve their system. In other words, how do I make the work better? How do I make the work more engaging for employees? How do I make the work for customers, and so that they want to interact with our organization? But real learning in organizations is um, hard to find. There sometimes it's because of stagnated thinking, uh, stale thinking, not invented here thinking, or being too busy or buried under the hierarchy and control through rules and procedures and scripts, etc. And so when you have this atmosphere with stale thinking, the operational assumption is that I'm doing great. We're making money and I'm happy, but it doesn't guarantee you uh, that you will be able to survive with this type of approach. So that's kind of what I would call the first level, and it combines itself with not only these operating assumptions that they have, but slightly better are orgs that at least have assumptions, working assumptions, or a working hypothesis um, that they're aware of. There's a certain awareness level. The first group seems to be more, you know, I've just got to do my work, and, you know, don't bother me with this stuff. I've got scripts and procedures and rules and people following up and, doing things that over and over again without ever thinking, okay, there's got to be a better way of doing this. And so with the second group, a hypothesis, which is an assumption um, with, you know, before any research or observation or data are collected on that particular hypothesis or assumption. Um, in organizations, these hypotheses is where it ends. I have an assumption, and I'm going to tell these people that this is the way it's going to be done, and there you go. Don't challenge me. Don't um, tell me that there might be a better way, because this is the way that I'm thinking, and so you get a lot of uh, things happening that are coming from the hierarchy of the organization, because they're the ones with all the assumptions. And executives are filled with assumptions that they have about how people on the front line are, about what customers find important. And so these two levels, the first one where you're just kind of subconsciously doing your work every day, versus kind of slightly better knowing I have assumptions about what I'm doing, probably make up about 95% of the organizations I've ever worked with. This is where they start. And one of my jobs is to make them aware of what they're doing and how they're going about doing it. And, if they're not interested in finding a better way, then let's not start down the path. And so the next level is where I would say about 4% of organizations, when I walk in there, already have kind of the next level, developing a theory from their research, their observation and data about what they're seeing. And, this is distinctly more material and a higher level thinking, a higher level of consciousness within the organization about what their assumptions are, and that they've dug deeper into it. And usually, the organizations that fall into these are usually doing something around science. Um, because most organizations are going to stop at assumptions or their hypothesis, and they aren't scientific enough or have an approach developed enough to give rigor to develop these hypotheses into a theory. And so these theories that you develop now have a little bit more to them. There's more substance to them because you have this theory that's been developed from observation and research and data. So then there's this fourth level, and the fourth level that even fewer achieve. To me, it's the highest level that you can get, and it's developing theory into knowledge. So taking what you've observed and constantly challenging the theory, because sometimes you make the wrong. You do research, you observe, you collect data, but you could be developing theories that are wrong, based on a number of things. There's the theory of, water always flows downstream. Well, it's been proven that that's not necessarily true, because if you have an earthquake, it can reroute the flow of the rivers. But it's pretty reliable, you would be able to say. And part of this being in science is where you develop a theory that it's never proven. And I think that's something that people, you always talk about people who are saying, I have a proven theory. Well, no proving, no theory is ever proven. You may have observations, and a true scientist will give you the conditions in which they ran their experiment and what their results were. But there are things that are certainly more reliable than others, but they're never proven. So in this 1%, you've developed enough theory about what customers are or what employees want out of an organization, that you have a sense of how to move forward. It shows a deep understanding of your system. And I talk a lot about system in all my episodes. So if you're new, go back. I mean, the whole thing is oriented towards being effective, meaning to be effective, you have to understand how your system works, meaning everything in your organization, how it interacts with each other and what the results are, and how customers interact with that system. So this system, deeper knowledge, gives you how your system performs in the eyes of customers and competitors and employees and everybody that operates within the system. And so a natural extension of achieving this higher level is innovation. It's then allowing new ways of maybe new products, maybe new services, things of that sort, because now you have basically a prism to look through to be able to say, okay, is this achieving what we need to? And we have enough rigor behind our research and our observation and data to know that, things are progressing forward and we're making something better that customers will. A lot of times people will just innovate and, okay, we innovated, check the list. It was on my checklist, type of thing. Uh, so to me, achieving this fourth level. So we have the level of kind of ignorance is bliss that I talked about. Run a company through all these rules and procedures, and you know the stale thinking type of mentality. That's the first level. Second level is at least some awareness of that you have hypothesis, that you have assumptions within your organization. And like I said, that makes about 90% of the organizations as I've walked into them. And then there's the 4% that now have taken that hypothesis and through research, observation, and data have now developed a theory around why things perform the way that they are. And they have developed some rigor enough to do something with the theories that they've developed. And then there's the 1%, like I said, the highest level of developing that theory into knowledge that they can rely on. So when they're put into new situations, like with innovation, that they can look through that prism and see new ways of not only doing the work, but having that rigor around research, observation, and data to know that it's something that's actually working. And I think, like I said, this is something that I think should be the aim of all executives. The executives need to develop this level of consciousness about what they're saying based off of, is it an assumption, or is it is it just an assumption, or is it something that we know from theories through observation, research, and data? So that's what I wanted to cover this week. It's a little more maybe convoluted than other episodes that I've had, but it's something that I consciously try to take organizations through and know where they are on this, Likert scale, basically. Are they, just from talking with people, with executives, I can tell pretty quickly where they fall. Why do you do something that way? We've always done it that way. It's kind of the lowest level that you can come up with. But you have these conversations with executives that can develop this level of consciousness that is on a higher scale and actually lead your organization to breakthrough, and innovation, breakthrough, and how you interact with customers, you break through, and how you interact with employees, and improving your system. So that's what I wanted to cover this week. And remember, there's always a better way.